Okay. I'm Yoshito, the Vice President of Platform Software Business Unit. And I'm responsible to develop mainly a customer required feature in the open source community. And also I'm supporting enterprise Linux. Sorry, mainly Red Hat Enterprise Linux in Japan. Hi, okay. And okay, better, becoming better. And I'd like to start from this question: what is open source for you? I think there are several answers based on business. I think, and I think this answer Sony Mobile said is one of the best answer for what is open source for you. Sony Mobile said over 80% of software in our handset means Sony's Xperia Mobile handset is open source. I think this is one of the most best described what is open source for you, because this means we cannot develop a product or software without open source. And from last year, Fujitsu started to provide a new platform called MetaArc. This is going to provide a digital business platform for customers. And in this solution, there is a Fujitsu Cloud Service K5. This is a public cloud service we are providing to the public. And of course, this public cloud service K5 is based on open source. I do not exactly calculate how many open source we are using in this public cloud. However, probably more than 90% of the public cloud services configured with open source. And less percent, 20% is based on our knowledge. We are really using this K5 platform to run our internal in-house order entry system or IT budget management system or something. So we are getting knowledge from the in-house adoption. And we are publicly saying Fujitsu is migrating internal enterprise system. We have more than 600 enterprise system in-house. Runs on 13,000 servers, huge system. And we are migrating this to K5 public cloud. And our estimation is we can reduce more than $300 million in 5 years. Yeah. And this is a status of our current challenge, moving to a public cloud service. 64 by 640 systems are already moved to K5 public cloud. And also, more than 100 R&D division is already using public cloud service. And the system integration team moved from their proprietary development environment to K5 already. And so through this in-house adoption of our internal enterprise system, we are gathering knowledge how to use public cloud for enterprise. And sometimes we can find out a common service, API service to 600 systems. And in that case, we are developing API service for customers. So we are Fujitsu is really learning what is cloud services, what is the service is, what kind of service is required on top of public cloud service. And we announced this K5 public cloud service last year. At that time, our target is not SOR, digital business innovation, SOE related service is the main target. However, our sales really talked with more than 1,000 systems in Japan. Most 70% of the customer requirement is for SOR. This traditional SOR system, customer wants to use the public cloud. This is a reality of the public cloud in Japan. I'm not sure in United States, probably on the Amazon web service, probably much more customers want to use Amazon as a digital business platform. I think so. But this is a reality in Japan, and so high reliability is very, very important for public cloud customers. This is our one of our knowledge we're getting. And this is a real footprint we are working in the open source community. This graph started from 2005. This shows y-axis is number of commits where we can contribute to open source community. Just 35 patch can be accepted in Linux. And right now, last year we contributed more than 2,800 patches to open source, several open source communities. One is Linux, still we are working in the Linux community, and KVM. And red one is OpenStack. My team started from 2014. It was very small footprint, but last year we provided a lot of patches to OpenStack, more than 1,000. And also, thank you. Which is working in SDN, probably not Open Daylight, probably ONOS. We are working in ONOS. And IoT and container, just started container. IoT, we are focusing on automotive related area because Fujitsu is one of the tier one provider to a biggest mobile vendor provider in Japan. So we are working in the automotive area also, but we are expanding operating system, virtualization, OpenStack, orchestration, and container. That is the foundation of digital business innovation. We're expanding our working area. And this is one very famous customer case, Tokyo Stock Exchange. I think one of the world's most biggest stock exchanging system. They used Fujitsu mainframe until 2009. From 2010, they migrated to Linux and high-end mission-critical iServer. And at that time, 2010, this system achieved a 2 millisecond of order response time. And right now, this last year, customer renewed, last year, 2015, customer renewed the system to the latest hardware. That system achieved sub-millisecond order response. And through this customer adoption of Linux, Fujitsu modified around here. we provide a lot of patch to Linux community to achieve a token stock exchange. One is most difficult one was modify a scheduler to achieve a very continuous response time. So, and how to record or get real-time tracing. We called flight recorder. And once system down, we have to investigate from crash dump and trace. So we are putting trace point on the several kernel area, including a very critical response time features. So, however, we achieved this very short response time with a free traced and provide a very optimized response time with a non-modified kernel. This system is achieved with a real, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. No modification. And right now we are focusing on OpenStack also. Now Fujitsu is a #7 contributor in Newton. 562 means number of commits to OpenStack. Last year, we contribute more than 700 patches, and this year, more than 2,000 patches to OpenStack. And we are providing only one Japanese board member to OpenStack Foundation. And now we are focusing on bare metal deployment to multi-tenant network. This was achieved on Newton release. However, we have to choose a real switch to create a multi-tenant network. So very limited configuration. We can do bare metal deployment to multi-tenant network. However, we can really do with our configuration. And another one is a live upgrade between major releases. This means right now we cannot upgrade from Mitaka to Newton with really providing a service. In the compute side, right now we can upgrade Mitaka to Newton, I think. However, in the controller side, we cannot upgrade because of DB schema incompatibility. So we need to keep compatibility something. So we are putting this technology to Okata and next P release. Probably, I hope we can achieve it in a P release. I hope. That is a focusing area right now. And this is a contribution to open source related area. OpenStack, Linux related, Open Daylight, Open Container Initiative, blah, blah. And this is a very new challenge, Hyperledger. Do you know Hyperledger? This is an open source implementation of the blockchain. Do you know the Bitcoin is based on the blockchain technology? And Hyperledger is an open source implementation of blockchain. Probably Alan knows well, no? And go back to what is open source for you. And there are a lot of open source projects in open source world. Linux is the center of the open source. And sometimes you may see this Linux status. 90% of world stock exchange runs Linux. 1.5 million Android activate per day, every day. 95% of HPC runs Linux, blah, blah. And who is writing Linux? This is a little old data, but in 2014 February, the Linux has close to 18 million lines. And most of them are drivers enabling IoT devices. And also, there is a huge area to support architecture. This means to enable ARM SoC, SoC vendor is developing a lot of code in the kernel. So 3/4 of the Linux is to enable SoC and IoT devices. This is a reality. And this does not include scheduler or delivering interruption or memory allocation, and not including virtualization features. So here is core includes memory management, paging, scheduler, virtualization file system. The code is less than 3 million lines. I have experience to develop another operating system, and the core code is around 2 million lines. So this is a same level of another operating system. And who is writing the core code? SUSE is here. 8% of the core code comes from SUSE. Sorry. 4% comes from my team. This data showed by Jonathan Corbett is do you know LWL.NET executive writer provided this data to in Linux clone. So, and to drive your business, you may, I'm not sure why. You may face lacked feature. You may need much more features in open source. However, because the open source developed not for you, to someone who want to do a real business, so you may face lacked features. So that time, you need to develop in the community. Or of course, you can modify the open source in-house. However, it may create another difficulty to continuously growing. You cannot get a continuously growing technologies from open source. So developing open source community is the best way to do to achieve your business with continuously. However, especially in the core code, there is a diversity of conflict requirements because, for example, my team developed a memory hot plug for enterprise huge servers. However, so at that time, my engineer tried to add 4 bytes of control code to existing structure. However, that challenge was failed because a small router vendor said, if you add 4 byte control code to existing control table, I cannot boot up on my router. So the control code become bigger. The router cannot boot with the small memory. So that kind of conflicted diversity in requirements create a very difficulty in OSS development. And so if you need to develop your mandatory feature in open source, you need a world-class talent. And of course, you can hire the world-class talent with a very high salary. Yes, of course you can do. And another way, you can create a talent. And I usually use homemade because, of course, I hired, in the history, I hired a very talented engineers. And however, I know, my engineer knows the real requirement in the business. However, very difficult to tell the real requirement to developer. That is very difficult. So he developed a code for us, very close to Penguin, but not real Penguin. So I believe homemade. That means real doing a business. He understands the real requirement. So really developed required feature in the open source world. So we need a talent. Do you know him? Of course, I think Linus Torvalds, the creator of Linux. And this is, do you know? He is a tennis player, Japanese tennis player, very famous, and Olympic medalist. And do you know? He's a Major League Baseball player, Ichiro Suzuki. Do you know him? He's a soccer player, famous soccer player. They're playing in AC Milan right now. And she's a famous ping pong player and the Olympic medalist, Fukuhara. And so how to create another Linux? We need that kind of talented engineer in-house. What is the common point among talents? I think all talents are involved in a very competitive environment from very young. Environment created those talents, I believe. And they learned a lot of things from their competitions. So they are facing a very strong competitors, how to work with them. However, so probably good environment, good experience creates a talent. However, the issue is we need a long time to create a talent. Well, in the Linux case, we cannot provide a patch to Linux community for 5 years, close to 5 years. Try to provide a commit, however, could not accept it by our open source community. We spent close to 5 years. And I learned a lot of things from through the real development. And right now, my OpenStack team can be an OpenStack engineer in 2 years. However, we need still 2 years. If customer requests a new feature, please wait for 2 years. Can I say? So I have to prepare. So we understand or assume or predict market demand change. Sometimes I draw a very simple figure like this: private, public, dedicated, share. And Tokyo Stock Exchange is here right now. And this is a customer demand. Much more efficient, cost effective. This is a very simple customer demand and market demand. And on this figure, sometimes my team put open source activity, private, public, dedicated, share, and write a roadmap to provide agile or something much more cost-effective environment to customers. So this is a kind of roadmap to prepare or creating engineers. And another big or important point is we have to do a real business. Business can give us a requirement, real requirement. And so I'm trying to make my business area bigger and bigger. Right now we are involved to a server development, switch or SDN development, private cloud, virtualization to a SaaS business area. This very wide range of business area, working area, give us a real requirement to us, to engineers. And the engineer has to achieve that requirement in the open source. That is getting a good experience and creating good engineer. And I can prepare next movement of open source. And finally, to create world-class talent, go areas and major trend. This is very difficult. I failed many times. However, we have to try to create a good engineer to develop our customer requirement in the open source world. Look into other vendors, what they are doing, and foresee the future trend. Do not hesitate to challenge in new segment or new technology. And another importance is develop outside. Engage in a good competition with other vendors can create a world-class talent. This is my understanding. And this time, we announced a collaboration with SUSE, and I introduced this time Fujitsu's activity in the open source area, and our experience and technology may create much more better customer value with SUSE product. Now this is ongoing activity we are doing with SUSE. This is a OpenStack reference architecture. We are going to provide a validated configuration, and this may be able to provide a stable and secure experience to customers, and also. We are going to provide how to customize the configuration. And okay, and with this is our come from our proprietary middleware. However, last year we opened to the public open source code. Probably today we can talk about. This activity also?
Of course, at the booth we can do any time, and in order
okay.
to be a breakout session.
Okay. And the next one is, I think this is a pain point of real Linux customer users. Sometimes we have to force to apply a service pack. Really? In Japan, we have to force to apply a service pack to apply security errata or something. However, can you imagine to apply service pack to a Tokyo Stock Exchange or New York Stock Exchange? I cannot force to do. So, however, they have a risk. There is a risk to apply a service pack. And also, we have to validate with a new service pack. This may create a big cost and a big risk. So Fujitsu and SUSE jointly offers resolution to minimize this cost and risk. This means a longer life cycle of service pack. Just you can apply a patch or security errata to your service pack for more than 5 years, 6 years, 8 years. Okay. Probably we can announce this in December or next year, early next year. Okay. And the final one is go back to the development performance in the open source world. In the OpenStack community, we are my team is in number 7 contributor, and SUSE is a number 10 contributor. If we can add this contribution, we'll be around here, very close to IBM. And SUSE is a leading contributor in the Linux world, and Fujitsu is number 4%, and if we add 8% and 4%, still Red Hat is 25%, but we can become close to Red Hat. Probably this new performance will create a customer value through our OSS development, I hope. And this is all of my presentation. Thank you.